Hey everybody, how's everybody doing? It's been a while since I made a video, but anyway, here I am. I'm trying to do it again. Hopefully I can be a little more regular. It all depends on what work does. As some of you guys may have noticed from my blog that I have some medical issues. I've got gout, which means I have to severely limit how much meat I eat. But of course I still love eating meat dishes. One way to replace meat is to make something called seitan.
Oh, hail Seitan.
Dude, that joke is so old.
You're kidding. It never gets old.
Yes, it's old. Anyway, he's going to go away, hopefully, and stay away for the rest of the video. But anyway, we're going to make seitan, and this is a very simple way to do it. And what we're doing today is we're doing a chicken version. It's going to be somewhat shreddable. That way we can use it in stir-fried dishes, or we can make chicken salad with it, these kinds of things. Anyway, hopefully you stick around and enjoy the video and let me know what you think. Got our blender here. I have 1 pound of tofu. It's a 1 pound block. This is firm tofu, and I've been experimenting with the recipe to get the ratios and everything, and I have been using firm tofu. If you use extra firm tofu, you're going to need to add a little extra water, that kind of thing. And I went with firm tofu because I know it's pretty easy for most people to find. So I've got the 1 pound block of tofu in there. Now I gotta get my water. I didn't have it ready, so I'm definitely rusty when it comes to making the videos. Let me get my water and I'll be right back. So I got my water. I've got 2 cups of water I'm gonna put in here. And then I have a 1/4 cup of water. So it's 2 1/4 cups. Don't get too excited about measurements and everything. I'm going to put a link to my blog post, and all the measurements and all the steps and everything are going to be right there on my blog. Anyway, it's time to make some noise. So I've got the blended tofu here. We're going to put this in here. Turn that off, that way it doesn't turn on. Now, in here, I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of oil. This is a neutral flavored oil. You could put it in the blender, but I don't like to do that because it makes the blender hard to clean. And then I've got 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. And we're just going to mix this together. And you don't have to worry about being exact. It's all going to wind up together here in a little bit anyway. All right. That's good enough. The apple cider vinegar helps with the funky taste. Some people say that this vital wheat gluten, when you make the seitan, they say that it gives you a funny taste. And I can kind of see that. Anyway, let's get going with the next step. So now we got to put together our dry ingredients. So in my bowl, I've got the 1 pound of the vital wheat gluten. It's now when you dump it in there, be careful just gently with it, because if you dump it from high, you're going to make a big cloud, because this stuff is pretty fine and it's real easy to get airborne. I've got some salt. I got 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I've got some granulated garlic. I got 1/2 teaspoon of granulated garlic. You can use garlic powder or onion powder, whatever you want. I've got some chicken seasoning. Now I'm using this one here. It's a vegan chicken broth. I actually kind of like it, but it is a little bit salty. If you skip this and leave this out, you probably want to go with a teaspoon of salt. It's going to be a little bit on the bland side anyway, but I mean, let's face it, chicken is normally kind of bland. It's really more about what you season it with. I'm just going to kind of mix this together a little bit, not too much, because it's going to try to spray up on us. And we're going to pour in our liquid. So this is our tofu and everything, our oil, apple cider vinegar. Like I was saying before, the apple cider vinegar is supposed to help with that funky taste. Put this away. But if you don't want to use apple cider vinegar and you don't mind the taste, hey, just leave it out. It'll be fine. And then what we're going to do is we're going to mix this together. See how that's trying to get carried away there? Making a cloud of dust. Anyway, I need to get in there with my hands. Some people are going to freak out because I got my hands on food. What we're going to do, we're just going to basically knead this enough to bring it together, and then we're going to let it sit for 1 hour. There. That's good enough. See? And then basically we're just going to let this hydrate and let it just kind of set and relax. Because gluten, whenever, as soon as you get it wet, it tends to stiffen up. And I want it to relax a little bit before we put it in the mixer. Anyway, see you in a bit. So our gluten's been resting for an hour. Kind of looks like this now. I guess I should have put like a towel over the top of it or something. I kind of forgot to do that. Yeah. There we go. Now, if you notice, I'm not using the dough hook. I've got the paddle so I can beat the crap out of this. All right, we're gonna lock this down. And then we're gonna start, first we're gonna be on speed 1. Now you don't wanna just walk away from this because as you can see, it's gonna kind of, I need to kind of hold this down. We're gonna let this go for about a minute. Just kind of kneading it together. And what we're gonna be doing is we want to get this stretchy. We want it to be stretchable. We're going to have to pull it down. Go up to speed. I want to go to speed 2. Okay, so now that's what I'm going to take, and I'm going to pull this off, flip it over. That way I'm in a different spot. Lock that down. Go to speed 2 for about a minute. And basically we're going to knead this for about 5 minutes. We're going to knead for a minute, take it off the paddle, flip it over, knead another portion, and we're going to do that for a total of 5 times. At this point, this is real stretchy. See how that wants to, you can really stretch that out. That's basically what we're looking for. Now I'm going to divide this in roughly 2. Now if you're mixing your dough and it starts to look, and it looks like this, you don't really need to mix it anymore. I'm just eyeballing this. Okay, so I got my dough all ready. Got my little steamer basket for my Instapot. I know some people hate it when you call it Instapot, but I don't care. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my dough, I'm gonna put it in here, I'm gonna mash it down. I'm gonna take my paper, cover it up like this. And set that one to the side. And do the same thing, kind of mash it down. Stack these. Put my little thing here. Now, in here I've got a little trivet. This isn't the one that actually came with it. I can't find that one. I'm going to put some water in here. I got a 1.5 cups of water. Put my little steamer basket thing in here. I'll put my lid on. and I'm gonna steam for 2 hours. It's 120 minutes. That's a long time, but it gives you time to go do some other things, make some preparation. And besides, this is actually better the next day. You probably want to let it set in the refrigerator or something like that. You can soak it, all kinds of stuff you can do. Anyway, I'll be back in about 2 hours. So my 2-hour timer counted down, and this thing has been sitting here for about 20 minutes. And that's going to let a lot of the pressure that's inside come out. It's called a natural release. So that's what I'm doing right now. Everything kind of continues to cook and everything. So whenever I open this vent, any steam pressure that's in there will come out. I'm curious about what's going on in there because I did hear a clunk while we were cooking. I'm kind of curious if I have a mess in here. I don't really know. So anyway, let's find out. All right. So I just had just a tiny bit of pressure left. Okay, so it's not, there we go, it fell down. So now this will come open. Now, get this rag, put it there. Lift this out of here. See what we got going on there. Still some water in there. So 1.5 cups, definitely plenty of water. Let me move the camera so you can see what's going on here. I'm going to go ahead and open this up, but everything still needs to cool down some more before we start doing our shredding, because I want to shred this up. Ooh, that's hot. That's what that looks like. Okay. Put that over here. See what we got going on here. Yep. Okay. That's what that one looks like. Anyway, I'm going to let these cool down and we'll be back here in a little bit. And so here they are after they have pretty much cooled down. They're not completely cool. They're still warm. And what we're going to do now is we're basically wanting to shred them. In fact, these are still a little bit hot. And you can see the direction to shred. Ooh, I'd say it's more than a little bit hot. Nevertheless, you can tear it into the bigger chunks. It's going to help it cool down a little faster. And we're going to shred this up. Now just as a curiosity, I threw these on the scale and I wound up, with the two of them, it's 3.2 pounds. You figure we started with 1 pound of vital wheat gluten and 1 pound of tofu, so that means it's soaked up a little over 1 pound in water weight. Anyway, I'm going to let that cool down just a little bit more and then I'll shred it up. It's the next day. It's not the same day. You can probably tell I don't have the same shirt on. So whenever I got done shredded up last night, I took and weighed it out and I put it in 8-ounce. I put it in individual bags, 8 ounces per bag, because this makes for a nice stir fry or whatever I want to do. So whenever I go in the freezer, pull these out, I'll know exactly how much is in there. These turned out pretty good. I'm happy with them. I wouldn't be sharing the recipe with you if I wasn't happy. I've made a couple other versions that were not so bad. In fact, I got some in the refrigerator that's the step before I got here. Anyway, we're gonna eat these up, but the half bag that I had, I made some chicken salad with it earlier today. Turned out pretty good. Anyway, the next recipe that's gonna come out of the video is gonna be a stir fry where I'm gonna use some of this. Just a basic seitan and veggie stir fry. Anyway, see you in about a week.